Next to
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will stand on the established protocol to save our time. My colleagues, honorable ministers here present, and senators and all the other guests, accept my standing and also sitting on the protocol. I'm deeply honored to address this esteemed gathering of trailblazing women and Nigerians. Today, we stand at a very pivotal moment in Nigeria's journey that calls for bold reflection, courageous vision, and collective action. Our theme today is driving transformation through value reorientation, inclusive leadership, and sustainability. It challenges us to rethink who we are, where we are headed, and how we will get there. The theme of this conference is appropriate, and I believe is a response to the current moral crisis enveloping the country. I would have been happy to analyze the challenges bedeviling Nigeria and propose solutions, but sadly, I cannot do so today. The reason is not quite far-fetched. We need a philosophical definition of the idea of Nigeria to identify its purpose, promise, and meaning. With a clear understanding of the rationale for the existence of this exceptional state, we may agree on the values that will underpin our nation. Nigeria is a nation so diverse in its makeup, yet so similar in its various people's cultural and behavioral traits, that if the British did not create it, a variant of Nigeria would have evolved organically. I will use this platform to call for a new national consensus on the idea of Nigeria, so that we can agree on our national values. As we speak, I don't know if we have broad national consensus on our values and how we intend to enforce or elicit compliance with the values. So I will speak to the team, but at a foundational level, seeking a definition or redefinition of the idea of Nigeria. So if you look at the chapter 2 of our constitution, it speaks of equality and social justice as one of the tenets of our country. It speaks of national integration, unity in diversity as a cornerstone. It speaks of democracy and governance, a mandate for participatory and accountable leadership. And it speaks of human dignity. However, these values remain lofty ideals, unfulfilled promises, because without a shared understanding and active pursuit of these principles, they become mere words on paper. Now, let me tell you, across the world, if you go to South Africa, the South Africans say that the principles of Ubuntu, that is a philosophy of shared humanity, drives the reason why we have the rainbow nation called South Africa. In India, they celebrate their secularism and pluralism. Indians are happy to say we are Hindu, we are Muslim, we are all kinds of religion find themselves in India. So every government in India makes effort to celebrate that secularism, the separation of state from power. In South Korea, they transformed the economy through innovation and excellence because they suffered a lot after the Korean Wars. In the United States, they founded it on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In France, it is built on liberty, equality, and fraternity. That was the purpose of the French Revolution. Now, the question is, what is Nigeria built on? What is the idea of Nigeria? What did we build this nation so exceptional, so resourced, both with human beings, landmass, arable land, natural resources? What is the purpose? If the British created us, and they said it was for the purpose of administrative convenience, and for the purpose of making it possible to extract resources from Nigeria, So they built railway from Kano to Lagos and Maiduguri to Port Harcourt just to take resources out of Nigeria. Now that we have taken over Nigeria, what do we want to take out of Nigeria? What do we want to be the guiding philosophy that will define Nigeria? Because once we don't do that, then we can't agree on the national values. We can't agree on what is inclusive leadership because we fundamentally do not agree. And that is why I think that it is critical for us as a nation to not accept the British convenience shop that was created for the purpose of extracting resources. The Nigerian political class is still behaving like the British. The idea for all of us is to go to the center and extract resources for our communities and for ourselves. So if we do not change that mindset and go into a development mindset that makes for shared prosperity for all Nigerians, that makes it possible that politics is not an avenue for wealth accumulation, but an avenue to dispense and share prosperity across all Nigerians, we will be wasting our time. I know there is frustration in the land. As we speak now, the young people are leaving Nigeria in droves under the Japa syndrome. Citizens distrust our leaders and religions are polarized along ethnic lines. Yet, history teaches us that nations in despair are not always, it's not destiny. You can come out of despair. Korea in the 1950s, after the war, was one of the poorest nations in the world. Its economy was in ruins and its citizens faced hunger and despair. Through visionary leadership, investment in education, and collective will to industrialize, it transformed into the powerhouse of the world today. Korea in 1950 was poorer than what is today Mali or Burkina Faso. They were poorer than Burkina Faso. If you go to Rwanda, it was a broken state after the genocide. Nobody thought that the Rwandan government would survive. The genocide claimed 800,000 people. However, with strong leadership, a commitment to reconciliation, and an emphasis on national unity, Rwanda has emerged as a beacon of stability and development in Africa. Another example I like to give is Nigeria in 1970. After the Civil War, everybody thought that Nigeria would degenerate into constant ethnic war and conflict, guerrilla warfare. People were of the view that there will be massive retribution against the Igbos or that the Igbos will fight against Nigerians. But by the genius of General Gowon, by the reconciliation and the reconstruction program, not only did the Igbos overcome it, Igbos went across to the whole of Nigeria, returned to their properties in Kano, their houses in Lagos. They didn't just return. Something significant even more happened. 9 years after the war, an Igbo man became the vice president of Nigeria. That is the power of the Nigeria that thought that we can recreate national unity. 12 years after the war, 1982, Ojukwu was granted pardon and returned into Nigeria. Why has Nigeria, 15 years after Boko Haram insurgency, we haven't been able to resolve it? Why is it that after 3 years of a very serious war, we were able, within 9 years, to forget about the war and move on as a nation? That Zik was a candidate in that election. Awolowo was a candidate in that election. And yet, a school teacher from Sokoto became the president of Nigeria. So, I believe that we can make Nigeria work. I believe that our history, though complex, offers us foundation for unity. Our new national anthem, our old that has now become new, says it all. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. He asks us to hand over to our children a banner without stain. And then it proposed a philosophy for Nigeria. To build a nation where no man is oppressed. I believe that we need to define Nigeria to stop what I call the brigandage that is currently going on. The idea of Nigeria must go beyond unity. Nigeria, we must stop talking about unity and faith, peace and progress. Peace, for what purpose? Progress to where? Chinua Achebe said, when you say that it's good to be united, unity can be a good thing, but you can unite to steal, to rob a bank. That's not a good unity. You can unite to build a hospital. That's a good unity. So we must find a way to explain Nigeria, not in concepts that can go one way or the other, but in clear concepts of justice, of equity. These are concepts that have no two meanings. But everything that is connected to Nigeria, peace and progress, unity and faith, faith can be a very good thing, but you can also have the faith in the wrong thing. You can decide to have faith in Amadioha, and you can decide to have faith in Shango, as you can decide to have faith in Jesus or Muhammad, the prophet. So what you can use with faith is something that can go one way or the other. You can be united to do right or wrong, but we need to redefine Nigeria to concepts that are unimpeachable, according to Chinua Achebe. And that is why we must use words that lend us to that. So, when we talk about value reorientation, we are assuming that we agree on what the values will be. I know that people are concerned about the erosion of integrity in public life. People are concerned about a system that rewards personal gain over collective good. One of the stories that disturbed me in Nigeria is the former governor of Kogi State. A young man. When people talk about young people taking office, he not only was governor for 8 years in Kogi, he shamelessly went and paid the American international school the school fees for 8 years of his children in future that will go to that school. He transferred $700,000 to American secondary school, primary and secondary in Abuja. Now let me tell you something. Not only was he shameless in accepting that after being governor of Kogi for 8 years, that no primary school or secondary school is worthy of his children to attend. The people of Kogi have not found anything wrong with that, those who support him. That 700,000 million in today's naira, if you go by 1.7, is almost, if you do $1 million, you are talking about 1.7 billion. You can build 3 primary schools and 4 secondary schools of global standards in Kogi. I mean, the man is not, he's absolutely shameless that he did it and he was now avoiding going to the EFCC. It's a shame that we do not think of the shared prosperity of making it possible for American International School to be brought to Kogi so that the children of other Kogi people will attend such a school. That is why I say, what is the meaning of Nigeria? What is the idea of Nigeria? Where was the State House of Assembly when no primary school in Kogi was enough for his son to attend? And if you look at that, you will see that as a nation, we are not yet agreed on the idea of Nigeria. I'll give you another example. A man from Anambra State, his name is Ernest Azudialo, the chairman of Next Oil. He's a businessman. He has built a strong wealth in oil and gas. But when he thought about education, his children can go to school abroad. They can go to school anywhere. He went back to Okija and built a Loyola Jesuit College, Gonzaga, in Okija. He brought it to Okija so that the children from Okija, where he grew up, will have access to quality education. He didn't stop there. He got Julius Berger to come to his village and build a pediatric hospital, which is one of the best pediatric hospitals in Nigeria today. Another man called Emeko Okwosa went to his village and built a heart hospital that today open heart surgeries are done in Orifute. These are people with their private resources. And we have governors. We have people who run a state and are shameless to take the money of the state and pay an American international school for their children to attend. What is the meaning of Nigeria? This is not even a case of law and order. It's a case of what do you feel for the poor people in your locality? What do you feel for Nigerians when you occupy high office? that you will pay school fees of 10 years for your children, even the one that is not yet of school fees age. Of course, American International School has returned the money. But it is the lack of angst, national outrage that I find disturbing. There should be national outrage. It is something that we as a nation must say, never again. Nobody should be in office and do this. What is good for the children of other people is not good for your own children. Because we do not have the idea of Nigeria, of shared prosperity, of a nation where we come together, that though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Of building a nation where no man is oppressed. That is why Senator Baribe talked about Nkale. I used an Igbo word to explain the idea of oppression of Nkale. Because what we do today is to oppress our fellow Nigerians because we occupy high office. So I believe that inclusive leadership in Nigeria has been dominated by a narrow elite. Political appointments are often perceived as loyalty rewards. But history shows that we have not always been like this. In 1959, an election happened in Nigeria. NCNC got the highest number of votes because they were in alliance with NEPU, while NPC got the highest number of seats. And if you combine the seats of NPC and NCNC and Action Group, it will have been possible for them to possibly form a government. But Zeke and Tafawa Balewa, because of the interest of the nation, decided to form an alliance between NCNC and NPC. That alliance was what stabilized the First Republic, that it lasted for that 6 years. It could have ended earlier than 1966. So it has not always been that Nigerians cannot come together across ethnic divide to achieve national objective. The Aba Women's Riot of 1929 showed the potentials of Nigerian women to lead in the fight for justice in our land. So I believe that implementing policies that promote merit, using transparent and credible processes will make us a better nation. Sustainability, building resilience for the future. We have demonstrated resilience in moments of adversity. The GSM revolution of the year 2000 transformed Nigeria into Africa's largest telecom market. MTN makes more money in Nigeria than they make in South Africa, their home country. Despite our challenges of no light, no water, no this, criminality, taking of power stations, MTN's most profitable business is still in Nigeria. Nigeria is working. For those who say Nigeria has happened to you, I said everywhere happens to everybody. If Ifeanyi Ubah had died in Nigeria, they would have said Nigeria happened to him. He died in London. Tayo Aderinokun, the MD of GT Bank, was a cancer patient. He had a stroke in Nigeria. He was rushed to London with air ambulance. He was taken to Haley Street Hospital, the best hospital in London. While in Haley Street, he had a stroke in the hospital. They struggled all night to restore him. The following morning, he had another massive stroke in the hospital, and he died inside Haley Street in London. So when Nigerians say Nigeria has happened to you, I said it is happening to everybody everywhere. Nigerian doctors are as good as any other doctor, but because we don't have a philosophy of our nation, everybody wants to make money from everything. We don't have an idea of the concept of Nigeria. So I believe that building consensus for national transformation. I am of the view that we must forge a national consensus on Nigerians' purpose and mission, the purpose of Nigeria. What kind of a nation do we want to be? What do we stand for? And what do we aspire to achieve together? Until we answer these questions, our values will remain hollow and our efforts at transformation will falter. Let us not give in to cynicism. Cynicism says to us that it is impossible. It says our divisions are too great and our leaders cannot rise to the challenge. But history teaches us otherwise. I told you of South Korea and Rwanda and Nigeria under General Gowon. We too can rise. The potential for greatness lies within us, waiting for the spark of unity and vision to ignite it. I call on all Nigerians, men and women, youth and elders, to come together in building a coalition of hope. Hope overcomes all. Cynicism destroys, it damages. Whatever challenges we are facing today, we must hope for a glorious future. And that glorious future is possible because if we do not overcome our fears and focus on what unites us as a dream, if we do not imagine the large market that Nigeria has provided us, the opportunity that Nigeria has provided us, the fact that you can go and study medicine in the University of Nigeria for 150,000 naira a year, school fees, and then finish in 8 years, you will have spent less than 1 million, 6 years, you will have spent about 1 million naira as school fees. And then you go to America from University of Nigeria, take the board exam, and you become an American doctor. I've been telling Nigerians in America, why borrow money to train your children in America? Bring them here to University of Ibadan. For 2 million naira, they will become doctors. Go back to America, take the exam, and become board certified doctors and start earning $150,000 a year. But to go to medical school in America, the cheapest will be between $300,000 and $400,000, and the top ones like Harvard and Co. will be $700,000 to $800,000 US. But the same Nigerian doctors, a Nigerian doctor from University of Nigeria, has the record as the best board exam student in the state of, she's in North Carolina. She's now a consultant neurologist. She has the report. Nobody has beaten her in that exam since the history of the exam and since 10 years after she took that exam. And she's from University of Nigeria. Yes. Carolina Medical Center. Yes, the CMC in Carolina Medical Center, correct. So I want to tell Nigerians that while people are lamenting, people are moving forward. Money Point just raised $1 billion, was just valued for $1 billion 2 weeks ago. And they raised another 300 million. Money Point is a Nigerian company based in Lagos. It does not earn dollars, it earns naira. But people with dollars, Americans, are investing in it. If you do not invest in Nigeria, if you are not hopeful about Nigeria, you are wasting your life. Because even if you want to go to America, you can get it cheap in Nigeria. You can become an engineer for less than 1 million. You go to Microsoft and you become an engineer in Microsoft. No Nigerian degree holder has gone anywhere in the world and not passed the exam to get into that board. So I am hopeful. And why I am hopeful is because together we can articulate a bold vision for Nigeria. One that speaks to our highest aspirations and lifts us beyond the failures of the past. Let us work tirelessly to create a nation where unity is not an empty slogan, but a lived reality, where progress is not a promise, but a measurable outcome. I therefore say that the moon of transformation is rising. Let us not wait for it to fade. The time to act is now. Let us rise as one people bound by a shared destiny and build the Nigeria we dream of. A Nigerian that will be a beacon of hope for Africa and the world. A Nigeria where no man is oppressed. Thank you.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, Gentle Media TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe, connects us together no matter the road.